Now, a groundbreaking non-profit company that's tackling one of South Africa's most pressing challenges, and that's youth unemployment. Now, as Fame Week Africa celebrates the continent's creative excellence, we're exploring how organizations like Ikasi Creative are building bridges between young talent and real opportunities in the film and media industry. Director of Ikasi Creative, Lamise English, joins me on the line to tell us more. Good afternoon, Lamise. Thank you for your time.
Hi, good afternoon. Thanks for having me.
So, Lamise, South Africa faces a youth unemployment crisis. In fact, this past Tuesday, Stats SA revealed that the country's youth unemployment rate increased by 39,000 to 4.9 million, which remains unchanged at 46.1% compared to the first quarter of this year. So I want to know, Lamise, how does Ikasi Creative view the creative industry role as a potential solution to this labor market crisis? And also, what would you say makes creative careers particularly viable for young people?
So 4.9 is an absolutely gut-wrenching number if you think about it. But I think it's absolutely critical that we tackle youth unemployment through many different facets. And at Ikasi, we realized we primarily are a training organization. So initially, Ikasi started with trying to give youth that are living in peri-rural and rural communities and even townships some accessibility to creative industry, because we realized that there aren't many creative careers being taught in these communities. So we initially went out there to places like West Coast and Garden Route and Worcester and other areas like Bonnievale. We just finished training in Bonnievale this past week. We're having graduation there tomorrow. Equipping these youth with basic production formatting skills, but also teaching them the power that they have in their mobile device and how to create content through their mobile devices that are able to immediately generate an income. So like training them how to make little marketing videos for entrepreneurs and non-profits in their communities so that they can immediately create a video, edit the video, and sell it. So that was our initial mission in these areas. But because of the rising unemployment, we realized that we need to have a dual approach. So we are actually beginning internships through our actual organization besides the training that we roll out. And we're trying to give a new pathway for graduates that come out of film and media and marketing schools, trying to place these graduates either in non-profit organizations, but specifically to creative industry. We're also trying to place them in production companies.
And as you said, training alone isn't enough these days, and that, of course, internships are the bridge between learning and earning. So then, Lamise, can you elaborate on the skills to employment gap you've observed, and also why traditional training programs often fall short in creating actual job opportunities?
Yeah, so for us at Ikasi, even our training has been very practical based. The way the training's been designed, whether it's a boot camp or incubator, there's a lot of hands-on training, there's a lot of mentorship and sort of real-world scenarios that get placed within our training. But as you said, that was not enough. So internships definitely bridge the gap between classroom learning and realities, specifically in an industry like film and television, where access to sets are very few and far between. For a lot of film school students or graduates, they have to really create their own set reality, which means they need to find funding or find access to money, come up with a concept, and do a little short film in order to give them that practical experience of actually being on set. What we are now saying to industry and the creative industry, like the film and television industry, is work with organizations like ourselves in Ikasi and actually give these graduates at least 1 year of experience working with your organization. We will do the grunt work of, accessing the graduates, doing initial interviews and all of that, and making sure that they are ready to be placed with the production companies. We've done a trial, Richard, where we just took 10 interns and we placed, these were now marketing and advertising interns that came out of degrees from marketing schools. And we placed them with non-profit organizations. And I have to tell you, these guys are doing sterling work with these non-profits. And as you know, non-profit organizations usually fall short in their marketing departments because there just isn't money for that. Once you've, just managed your operations, there's no money left to actually market yourself. And these non-profits are really gaining the benefit of having these creative youth in organizations helping develop really good marketing collateral so that they can market the NGOs better. So what we are telling production companies is partner with us, and we will do the same for you. We will go through the brunt work of getting funding to pay the intern stipends, and all that you need to do is put them in a real working environment for 12 months and mentor them correctly.
I love that you mentioned that, Lemise, because you've offered to assist with funding for internship programs. So then how do you balance the financial realities of running a nonprofit with also the need to make these opportunities generally accessible to both young people and the production companies?
Yeah, so that's always a difficult balance for any nonprofit. Any nonprofit leader will tell you, there's never enough money because there's so many communities that you have on your waiting list that are saying, please come to us, please come to us. We've got, 50 youth here ready to go on a program. But for us at Ikasi, we try and as best as possible put out on proposals to grants. We also try and partner with companies, with organizations, because we truly believe that in the networking space, the real connections are made, and you never know where that connection will lead and who hears the story and then wants to support. So Ikasi is a registered non-profit. We've got PDO status, so we're able to issue an 18A for relevant donations received. We've got partners that we've worked with over the years. We've got a really good relationship with our sector CETA, which is the MICT CETA, and we are an accredited training provider. So we try and balance everything and make sure that we check all the boxes so that we are able to access funding when the time arises and help as many youth as possible.
This is Saki Sizwe, Building the Nation, Bodinasi. My name is Mitchum George, and we are in conversation with Lemise English. He is the director at Ikasi Creatives, a non-profit company which aims to build bridges between young talent and real opportunities, especially in the film and media industry. So, Lemise, you've mentioned that, of course, you are partnering with others, and as a CSI partner to MIP Africa, you're calling on production companies to take on interns. So I'm keen to find out what responsibility do you believe established industry players have in addressing youth unemployment, and also how can they make internships more than just unpaid labor?
So, good question. And I'm going to be a little bit controversial here, and I hope that no one takes offense. But in the film and media industry, unfortunately, it's one of those industries that are very hard to penetrate. So a lot of production companies, they're just extremely busy. And, production and a production environment is already a high-pressured environment where budgets are, big budgets are put to these films. And the last thing they actually have time for or want is trainees on set. and interns. But we are saying that thinking needs to change. And there's been organizations that have been open and that have taken on trainees on set because over the years there's been petitions to do that. But what we are saying at Ikasi is don't only take them on set for that production. Give them a full year. Let them work with your company. Let them understand the inner workings of a production company, because in that they will learn so much more than just having 2 or 3 weeks on set. So we're looking at a longer relationship between production companies and interns. And we are happy to do the administrative work and the facilitation of that year with the interns. We're also very happy to identify skills gaps and do masterclass training within their 12-year internship, so that once they are done with their 12 months, they're even more employable, because now they have got a 12-month reference from the production company that they've worked at. And there are so many graduates that can benefit from this program, and we are just very proud to be at Fame Week Africa again this year as CSI partner to MIP Africa. And as you know, Fame Week Africa is a very big content market where all the big names like Netflix and DSTV and everyone comes to talk about creative content and filmmaking. And that's our platform where we're going to be reaching out to production companies.
And I'm sure, Lamise, there are, of course, unemployed youth and listeners perhaps tuned in thinking, it sounds good, but does it actually work? So perhaps if you can just share some specific data on employment outcomes for your graduates, and also how many have transitioned from your programs into perhaps stable paying work in the creative industries.
Yeah, so we've got obviously different types of graduates. Most of our graduates are out in the rural areas and communities, and in those areas there's a very big focus around entrepreneurship. So we really drive trying to set them up so that they don't leave their community to come to the big cities to try and find work. We are basically saying you are unique in your community. You've got a skill now that not a lot of people in your town, your little Dorpy, have. So use that skill and market yourself. And we try and support them really well. We've trained over 300 youth out along the West Coast, Garden Route area, Woodstood area, and our alumni have completely thrived. They have, it's funny how when you get people in a class from a community, they start gelling and they start connecting with each other because they're from the same region. And then they start building little production units. And we've seen this happen time and time again, where they connect and now they start producing content for the local businesses. So entrepreneurship has been really well taken up after our program. There are some learners that went on to study further and wanted to complete degrees and that kind of thing. And we've got learners that have gone into industry. Recently, there were 4 of our alumni that were actually taken on an international production for a full, I think it was 6 or 8 weeks that they worked on this international production. And we've got really good feedback from and how they performed on that production.
And I think you just actually, in fact, answered Mone's question, because we have received a WhatsApp from Mone saying that he is interested, but he wanted to know what would the career progression look like. So thank you for answering. I think you have answered just that there. So thank you, Lamise. So also then, how does addressing youth unemployment then through creative training also contribute to transforming the demographics as well as perspectives within South Africa's film and media landscape?
I think transformation is key, and there's different levels to transformation. Obviously, there's been a big drive to ensure that through our country, obviously, that industries take up people of different colors. That has been a big drive. But what we are saying is there needs to be youth transformation in companies as well. So, companies can't just hold on to experience and work on experience. They need to ensure that there's a youth pipeline that continuously flows into their company. And internships is one way of ensuring that pipeline. And if the intern does really well, you can always take them within your company and then grow them that way. And soon you'll see that they will then become the experience. So we need to think of youth in our companies and have a youth profile as well. In today's time, we're looking at a lot of digital media spaces, and we shouldn't discount the role of digital media, social media, and the internet. And there's a lot of job opportunities for content creators using mobile devices where they can earn income and make content for social media platforms. And for even platforms like WhatsApp for small businesses. A lot of people who own these businesses don't have time and maybe don't have the skills to make good little videos of their products or their businesses. So this is opportunities where youth can come in and actually develop skills around that. And our youth today are very skilled in mobile. And it's just a matter of focusing the skill and showing them how they can actually monetize that skill of making really good videos.
Absolutely. And then, Lamise, let's talk about the future. How do you think, if this model obviously proves successful, how could it be scaled across to perhaps other provinces or even other African countries that is facing similar youth unemployment challenges?
I think to scale the project is relatively easy. Ikasi has always been an organization that worked remotely and digitally. So we just keep, as a staff unit, we ensure that we're able to reach people in all the corners, of the globe. So we're very used to bridging that space divide. And for us to reach out to youth in Joburg or Durban or even across the border, those are conversations that we can absolutely have and roll out wherever is required.
Absolutely amazing stuff there, Lamise. And then any additional words in closing?
Just that, we're really looking forward to Same Week Africa. And if you'd like to know more about our organization, you can visit our website. I'm sure Mitchell will put up our details on a post. So maybe just look out for the post on social media. But thank you, Mitchell, for the opportunity.
No, thank you, Lamise, for your time this afternoon. And of course, sharing Ikasi Creative's vital work in connecting young talent with real opportunities in our creative industries. Thank you, Lamise.
Thanks.
All right, that was Lamise English. She is the director at Ikasi Creatives, a non-profit company which aims to build bridges between young talent and real opportunities in the film and media industry. And yes, as Lamise mentioned, we will, of course, put all the details on the Saki Sizwe blog page. And that's, of course, sakisizwe.blogspot.com. This is Saki Sizwe, building the nation, Bau Dinasi.